In the world of drug safety, there's a process that's supposed to keep all of us safe. But what if I told you that system was being sabotaged from the inside? Today, we are diving into a hidden crisis in drug safety reporting, one that's putting both billion-dollar drugs and, more importantly, patients at risk. Okay, this chart right here, it gets right to the heart of the problem. That small bar on the left, that's what highly trained medical experts should be doing. Actual scientific analysis. And that huge bar on the right, that's what they're actually spending their time on, a massive mountain of clerical work. This isn't just inefficient, it's dangerous. But before we get into why, let's just quickly cover what these reports even are. So these aren't just some boring old documents. Think of these reports as the active, ongoing safety defense for a drug's license. They are the critical shield that a company holds up to regulators to prove that their medicine is safe for you and me. The stakes really couldn't be any higher. And that high-stakes process brings us right to what we're calling the 80-20 reporting trap. This is where simple, mind-numbing busy work is completely undermining the critical science that's supposed to keep us all safe. Okay, let's put some numbers on that imbalance we just saw, and honestly, these numbers are shocking. A staggering 80% of the time and effort goes into what the source material calls furious data reconciliation. That's just a fancy way of saying manually pulling, cleaning, and matching data. This leaves a tiny, measly 20% for the actual medical assessment. The core scientific work becomes a complete afterthought. So the gap between expectation and reality here is it's massive. You'd think these highly qualified experts are performing robust signal evaluation, the crucial job of looking for new, hidden risks and carefully analyzing a drug's benefit-risk profile. But the reality? Nope. Their job has become a frantic data entry exercise, wrestling with spreadsheets and chasing down people for missing information. All of this wasted time creates an even bigger problem, a chaotic process that we're going to call the data scramble. This quote from our source material just nails it. Aggregate reporting is where data volume meets regulatory velocity, and usually the data wins. You can just feel the pressure in that sentence, can't you? It perfectly captures this feeling of being overwhelmed, buried under an avalanche of data while trying to meet these insanely strict deadlines. And this timeline shows you that scramble in action. A typical 60-day cycle is just consumed by chaos. It starts, and for the first month, that's fully half the allotted time, teams are just chasing down missing data. By day 55, with that deadline breathing down their necks, it's just a frantic, last-minute reconciliation effort. There is just no time left for thoughtful, deep scientific work. So the real bottleneck isn't even the writing part. It's this chaotic pre-writing phase. We're talking endless follow-ups with different teams, trying to plug gaps from missing literature searches, hunting down incomplete sales data, often just days before the whole thing is due. And the dangerous outcome of this whole mess? Well, you get these final reports that, sure, they're technically complete, all the boxes are checked, but they are scientifically weak. Because there's no deep analysis, they are far more likely to get pushed back by regulators, which just creates more work and raises some really serious questions about a product's safety. But look, it doesn't have to be this way. The solution is actually pretty simple in concept. It's all about flipping this broken ratio by creating a clean separation between preparing the data and analyzing the data. This new paradigm is really built on 3 straightforward steps. First, you automate the data preparation. Let the computers do what they're good at. Second, you standardize the workflow so that all the data is locked and ready before anyone even starts writing. And third, and this is the most important part, you free up your experts to do what they do best, medical analysis. And here is the payoff. We have completely inverted that chart from before. Now, a full 80% of the time is dedicated to high-value medical assessment, with only 20% needed for all that data prep, which is now automated. This is what an effective, science-led process is supposed to look like. And you see, this whole transformation, it's about more than just efficiency. It's about empowering the real experts to finally do the job they were actually hired to do. The ultimate gain here is so clear. When you let scientists be scientists, you get a much better result. They can deliver reports that aren't just on time, but are also robust, defensible, and totally audit-ready from day one. That reduces risk and strengthens the entire safety process. The old way was just absurdly wasteful. It was, as this quote says, forcing highly qualified medical writers to act as expensive data entry clerks. Flipping that ratio means you're leveraging world-class talent to protect patients, not wasting it on low-level busy work. At the end of the day, this isn't really about operational efficiency or meeting deadlines. It's about the fundamental mission of drug safety. So it leaves us with one critical question. If your most qualified experts are buried in spreadsheets, who is actually watching out for patient safety? It's a question every single organization needs to be able to answer.